Hello everyone. Today I am going to be featuring the North Carolina, one of the original battleships in the game, one of the first lines and one of the first BBs that were actually added to the game. The NC still has a very strong role in World of Warships. The matchmaking is full tier 8, that means every single ship is tier 8, and of course there is a carrier. Now a carrier does make life significantly harder for the North Carolina, because, well, back in the days before the AA rework, you wanted to see carriers with the North Carolina because your AA was so strong, but after the CV rework, well, they are able to strike you quite easily, and more importantly, they negate one of your greatest advantages, which is that 12.3 km concealment with the full stealth build. So you've gone from wanting to see CVs to actually dreading seeing them. The game was to get a central spawn. I want to push north to support my team because NC, once again, you want to use that stealth. You also want to push kind of nose in, and the islands in the north give you a better opportunity of doing this. And being able to peek your front guns out behind islands, blap, and then reverse into cover if need be, favors the ship better. That doesn't mean it can't do open water fighting as well, but generally speaking, you do like the island cover more in the North Carolina. One of the great downsides of the NC is the shell velocity. As you can see, it is very, very slow. So you do want to find ways to get closer to the enemy to ensure your hit rate. The dispersion and the accuracy of the ship is actually surprisingly good. NC is in fact one of the most accurate tier 8 battleships in the game. Well, of course, now that they've added things like Champagne, that one is on a different scale. But NC is still a pretty reliable battleship. But the 15-second travel time on those long shots means that it's kind of hard to hit any targets. However, 406mm guns means that the battleship guns are still competitive thanks to the accuracy and thanks to the good turret setup. And with the good concealment and decent health pool, I would say, the NC is still a strong ship. NC has always been a fairly difficult to play, but also a fairly rewarding ship. Amalfi tries to contest the cap. I predict he's going to accelerate and turn away from the cap, so I aim at the waterline where he would turn away. I do get a decent volley, surprisingly only 2 hits. I was hoping to actually finish off the Amalfi kill, but I only get 1 citadel and he actually manages to get away scot-free. I was a bit hesitant to push too aggressively through the cap since there is a Kagero in the cap, and I'm a bit worried about potential torpedoes. In fact, that's what I'm looking out for this entire time. I'd like to stop in the gap and just take pot shots, but stopping in the gap when there's an undetected Kagero sailing around, it means a high chance of just getting killed. I predict he's going to turn left to dodge the torps, but he actually turns right, and surprisingly Mekaga doesn't actually seem to be dropping him, which, oh no, he does go for a drop, but looks like he will not be able to get a kill. I'm uncertain what the plan was there, but it looks like the Amalfi is going to be getting away. And this is where I start realizing some issues. I start pinging my 2 battleships. If you look behind me, there's actually a North Carolina and a Richelieu that spawned south, and instead of sailing center, or even maybe directly to see if they really don't want to go south, they kind of ran away into our spawn. And this is obviously a huge issue because this means map control is gone. We have given up all map control. When the team that spawns south just straight up abandons the defenses, and they don't even use it to reinforce another flank, like showing up here and then pushing here in force, but they just straight up just run away. In fact, they're sailing up to the carrier. When that happens, you lose map control big time. And I'm pinging them, trying to make them realize you cannot sail here, we're gonna give up all map control, and it's already happening. We've lost A, we've lost B, only our Akizuki contesting C is preventing the enemy team from securing that objective as well. So the points are gonna start spiraling heavily in favor of the enemy team, and my poor Z23 and Atago, well, they have a Herculean task down there trying to keep this cap alive, or trying to keep that defense alive, because the enemy team will just going to start pushing up north and they're going to envelop us very quickly. Now my hope is that my team up north realizes what is happening and they will push in aggressively on this sea cap, but looking at my team up there, it seems like all the brawling ships There is the Amagi and the Tirpitz, ships that are very well suited for pushing in and basically taking the fight to the enemy. Well, they're all disengaging and running up north and hiding. And this is a huge problem because the NC doesn't actually brawl that well. It has a vulnerable broadside and it has a fairly significant citadel as well. So if you get broadside in this thing, NC is in fact very, very easy to citadel. So you generally don't want to brawl the enemy ships. You want to play mid-range. That is your optimal range. Unlike something like, for example, a Tirpitz, which would love to brawl, or even an Amagi, which could use the turtle back to its advantage. So I'm in a bit of a dilemma. I know we need to play aggressively on this cap, but I'm in a poorly suited ship for it, and my team, for some reason, well, they're all massing their forces north of me. In fact, most of them are already on the beeline. At this point, I realize I can't keep going north. Even trying to turn in is not worth it. I have to provide some sort of crossfire because my team does not appear to be doing it. I use Expert Loader with, I think, Halsey, which gives me, of course, a very fast ammo switch ability. And in this case, I Expert Loader HE to be able to catch this Akizuki off guard as he comes around the corner. He wasn't expecting me to be sitting here, and we do manage to at least secure a DD kill. The problem is, however, it cost us our Akizuki as well. And now we're starting to get in some serious trouble. 460 points for the enemy. We still don't have any caps generating points. And looking at my team, they don't appear to have any plans whatsoever to push this objective. The Taga down south, not surprisingly, goes down. That's usually what happens when your battleships run away. The enemy cruisers, they can play super aggressive because there's no one who can really blap them, and then life becomes so incredibly difficult. I'm pinging the cap, hoping someone from my team would realize that we really need this objective, but one enemy Bismarck in the north on A10 is occupying basically my entire team at this point. So at this point I have to be the one who leads the charge into C. There is no options remaining. My team is to put it simply, they are very questionable. They have their positioning is incredibly debatable. They're focusing all their resources on one single battleship, and they seem to have no interest in the objective whatsoever, even though with the force we have here we could easily steamroll this cap. So I have to charge in and I have to get our team this C cap. The good part is that the game isn't necessarily lost, because one team having a huge cap advantage in any sort of competitive, that's a huge disadvantage. But in randoms, there's the chance that one team decides, hey, we have a lead, we're winning, let's try to win even harder. And of course, winning it even harder means that you can potentially suicide. I aim based on the minimap, trying to catch the Tallinn as he accelerates. There's this small circle on the minimap you can use to lead, and that's in fact what I use to catch the Tallinn. I'm holding down right click, so my guns are actually still aimed on the same spot, hence why I just instantly left click to shoot my back turret the same way. Unfortunately, I only get an overpen. However, the citadel on the Tallinn does scare him enough that he stops shooting. I'm pinging to get some support from my team, because once again, of all the ships here, I'm not well suited at all for capping this objective, because, for example, Edinburgh has a great concealment, potential smoke. The other ones are significantly tankier. I am a very poor pick indeed to go for this cap because it's so easy to shoot me and reset me, and that is exactly what is happening here. And we don't really have time to waste with NC trying to secure the objective. We need to get this fast and try to get some map control back, because we're getting boxed in, and we're getting boxed in hard. My team is finally starting to wake up a bit. It's finally starting to realize that, hey, we need to do something. This game is collapsing. You've probably seen a lot of these games recently, and that is basically one team just not putting any effort whatsoever into winning the match and just getting completely steamrolled. Well, this game appears to be following that same pattern very quickly. The enemy team already closing in on 600 points. We have no map control, we're surrounded. It's looking like a complete disaster. Tallinn pops up. I'm trying to get my back turret in. I'm avoiding shooting, hoping I don't get reset, but he does get a hit in, and because I've already lost all my reset contribution, I do go for the shot. However, the slow shell velocity of the NC does troll me a bit, and the shells don't quite catch up to him. I wonder if there was maybe a bit of desync on one of the shells there. Regardless, my lead was not enough. And probably from playing a bit too much Slava and such, or just generally fast shell velocity ships. NC does take some adjusting to because the shell velocity is so very slow. Go for another shot on him. We have finally secured the cap. We somehow managed to lose a ship behind us, so we're down to 258 to 726 points. I somehow managed to get 2 shatters on the Tallinn. That must be his troll armor kicking in, keeping him alive, because somehow he survives the volley. I'm hoping my team will focus fire him. I'm pinging him repeatedly. We need this kill because we need to stay. We need these points to stay in the game before we get completely rolled. I just go for random blind fires, really just trying to secure this kill, but it looks like that guy is actually gonna get away. And at this point, that's a disaster. 760 points for the enemy team, 276 for us. At this point, we're equal on ships, but our map control, our cap control, it's completely non-existent. At this point, we basically need a miracle. Enemy Massachusetts, pressing very aggressively. I decide to go for the Takao behind him instead because he's giving a lot of broadside. I would need some really good dispersion to catch him though, as he's turning in behind the island. And by the looks of it, I sadly only get an overpen. I switch the target to the Massachusetts. I pop a rather early heal. This is not going to be a full heal, but at this point I realize I'm going to have to play super aggressive again, and basically trying to get my heal ready for the upcoming fight as soon as possible is the priority here. Not maximizing my healing, but making sure my follow-up heal is available for the next fight. This Massachusetts will go down. He's overextended. This is not how you push in a Massachusetts. I can make a video to show you how, but this is most certainly not it. And he's going to get himself crossfired, and with our focus fire, we should easily be able to kill him off. My Turpits though, this is the time to play safe and conserve our health. My Turpits, however, decides after, well, hiding in the back all game, now he's going to throw away his entire health pool instantly. You see this a lot, and it's battleships thinking they have to fully commit. You don't need to fully commit. Getting the kill was all we needed. Now we could back off behind an island, heal up a bit, let the rest of the team push, but he is instead fully committing and he will be going down. Richelieu pushes up and actually stops behind the island. At this point I really want to push up and kill him, but I also have to keep in mind there has been a Kagero spotted in our spawn, and there is a Kagero hunting for kills here. And that means at all points I have to pay attention to priority target so he doesn't get any good torps in on me, because me dying at this point is a guaranteed loss. The enemy has 907 points. I expert loader once again from AP to HE. A nose in Richelieu. I could break his turrets, but we don't have time for that. We need to get a kill ASAP. I only land 4 hits, and sadly I get no fire whatsoever. I'm calling for support. This guy needs to die fast. 930 points for the enemy team. My team is actually focusing him, which is good. Note that I'm changing course, changing speed, adjusting speed. I know the Kagero will try to torp me, and this is the best way to avoid that. He grounds. I go for underneath the turrets where the 32mm plating is, and I decide he's giving enough broadside that if I load AP, I should be able to finish off this kill even faster. I go for that vulnerable upper belt, but I somehow get completely trolled and once again only land 4 shells, and one of the pens gets eaten by the turret. 970 points for the enemy team. However, the focus fire from my team and the fact that I'm keeping him spotted seems to be enough. Kagero torps go wide thanks to my constant maneuvering, and with 980 points for the enemy team, that Richelieu is going to burn to death. We have a lifeline. We're back in the game. Monarch gives me full broadside. This is normally a big mistake because Monarch Citadel is huge, but that dispersion that was trolling me earlier, well, it's showing its ugly face again, and I only get 2 bounces on an almost broadside Monarch. At this point he is turning in, and I'm gonna have to push in and support my Amagi, who's trying to brawl him. I also know that Kagero is somewhere here in front of me, so I will have to keep an eye out for potential torpedoes on me as well. Amagi's torpedo belt is significantly better than mine, so he can endure it, and of course he has a turtle back at this range, so he's much better suited for actually brawling the Monarch. I'm trying to break the turrets on this Monarch to just mitigate the damage my Amagi is taking. I see that my Amagi is committing full speed, so I'm going to start slowing down. Once again, the goal is to create a crossfire. If I keep going full speed right now, well, I'm not going to be creating any crossfire, am I? I'm going to be on the same line as the Amagi, which means that the Monarch can just turn in against both of us and be perfectly safe. So this is where you need to realize, hey, Where is he going to go, and how can I create a crossfire when he goes there? And as you can see, he's turning his nose in towards the Amagi, trying to angle against both of us, and in doing so, he does expose too much broadside, and I don't get quite citadels, and in fact shatter on the citadel, but I do get some good pin damage in, and that's exactly all I need. 970 points for the enemy team again. Torps are coming in from the Kagero. I hope my Amagi is aware of them. Uh-oh. He doesn't appear to be. The Monarch goes down, but the Amagi follows suit right after. And they are up to 960 points. I look where the Amalfi is going, I predict his turn, and I take a wild shot. At this point, the enemy team is about to win. They're 35 points away from a win. There is basically no chance we can ever recover this match. This is a guaranteed loss. However, I was actually aiming at the Amalfi, but the Amalfi turned where the friendly Talon was, and my shells did not hit the Amalfi, but they in fact killed that low HP Talon that got away earlier. And thanks to that miracle, somehow we're still in the game. I turn in, dodge the torpedoes, make sure I can secure the cap, and we do secure a second cap for our team. 4 minutes left. Enemy Takao pushing our flank. I know there's a Kagero also on the flank as well as this carrier constantly harassing me, but I cannot allow this Takao to push north, potentially kill off my mines, potentially go up there and contest the cap, since our carrier seems to be struggling to deal any damage. I take a careful lead at his waterline. I will be eating a torpedo, but it is only a carrier torpedo. My shells go exactly where I need them to go. And finally, Dispersion does not troll me, and I finish off the Takao. They were once again up to something like 950 points, and I managed to bring it back down to 900. Priority target, you see priority target showing 1, then it's showing nothing. That means the Kagero just aimed his torpedoes at me. I know torpedoes are coming, so I slow down my speed and turn in towards where I suspect the Kagero to be. It does mean giving a bit more broadside to the rocket planes, but I'm willing to take that chip damage to make sure that the Kagero doesn't get any big hits in. This kind of constant maneuvering and turning means that the Kagero struggles to land any torpedoes, and once again, my Dukes allow me to dodge those incoming torpedoes. We are still in trouble though. 925 points, but the carrier actually spots the Kagero. Once again, expert loader HE, but I don't want to shoot too early. I know the Kaga is going to go back for a spot, so we're going to be patient. 934 points for the enemy team, 2.5 minutes remaining. I wait for the Kagero to commit to a turn. The second it looks like he's committing, that's when I pull the trigger, and I manage to finish off the Kagero. They're back down to underneath 900 points, only for a second, before they tick above 900 points once again. The Implac is behind the island. We have 2 minutes remaining. I need to close the distance. Amalfi gets spotted. I still have HE loaded. HE on 11k is probably not going to kill him, so once again, expert loader kicks in. That improved expert loader from Halsey is so very valuable, and just as he's turning in, I get AP loaded and I take a shot at his basically turning broadside at this point, trying to get into cover. And with 3 overpins and a pen, I secure the Kraken and once again bring the points down below 900. Somehow, we managed to keep this game alive. Something that looked like an absolute steamroll, thanks to the complete abandonment of all map position by my team, there is still a chance. Implac goes in for torps. I don't have time to be dodging. The more you maneuver in a battleship, the more speed you lose, and INSEE is not a particularly fast battleship. I angle in slightly just to make sure it doesn't break my rudder or engine, and since I don't want to eat the unnecessary torpedo, and at this point I'm going to try to sail as straight as possible to try to catch this carrier as fast as possible. Ideally, my North Carolina on the H-line should be going straight south. That way he would get angles on this carrier much faster, but for some reason he's hugging the island, and this means he's probably not going to get any shots in time. 54 seconds remaining. Edinburgh probably won't get torps off. If the Implac just sits there, we're going to have to get all around the island to shoot him. Once again, INSEE going south would be giving us such a good, not just vision, but he would also be able to take shots at him. But he's hugging that island, and he's making this so very difficult for us. 30 seconds remaining. We can test the cap. The points are not going to be enough. 825 to 914. They are back over 14, or back over 900 that is. INSEE finally gets a shot off. He's not gonna get a second one. 16 seconds remaining. The carrier has 25,000 health. Less than 10 seconds remaining. I need to take into account shell travel time and that small delay that you have. 4, 3, 2, 1. With 1 second remaining, my shells land. But once again, I only get 1 overpen and 4 pens. My back turret clips the island because I had to pull the trigger, and with only 1 second to spare, it still was not enough to secure the kill. And the game does in fact end in a defeat. I have to say, this game, I played this game like a couple of months ago, and it took me some while to make a commentary on this game because god damn, this game pissed me off. Oh my god, I was so frustrated after all the heroic plays, after the recovery of bringing the team back from the brink of the abyss, only to be trolled at the very end with the carrier surviving with 5,000 health. Good lord, I was frustrated. But on the other hand, this was a thriller of a game. This was a game that was the entire time on the knife's edge. It was about to be a complete steamroll like most games, and that's probably why I enjoyed it so much, because so many games these days are complete steamrolls, and this one was actually a close one, which made it so much more enjoyable. Team score, however, tells a pretty brutal story. I have 1,900 base XP, which is in fact 200 more base XP than the number 1 on the enemy team. So I won the XP race, but I lost the battle. So much for that outcome. Damn. Still, I honestly, I still rather have a loss like this than all those steamrolls we've been seeing these past couple of days. Detailed report. Well, I basically did damage to everyone, 1.4 million potential, amusingly 48,000 damage upon your spotting. In a game with carriers and DDs, getting 48,000 spotting in a battleship is certainly rather unique. Some extremely trolly dispersion here, some chances to get some kills, but maybe I was giving up all that dispersion just to get that incredibly lucky volley where I aimed at the Amalfi and accidentally killed the Tallinn. Maybe it was all a trade for that incredible luck, incredible strike of RNG keeping us in the battle. Regardless, this one ends in a loss. My build is of course still the standard. I run the improved turret traverse in the 3rd slot, and I run the standard American battleship captain, which is priority target, adrenaline rush, superintendent, fire prevention, concealment expert, expert marksman, expert loader, and jack of all trades. The standard 19-pointer in that order of importance. INSEE is still a great ship. Sadly, the teammates these days, man. Oh man. This game. What a match. What a match. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great rest of the evening.